Are you ready to solve all of your career problems? I mean, Well, welcome to today's episode of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. But today I'm doing something brand new. This segment of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show is called the Career Rescue Hotline. Yes, me, Dr. Kiki Ramsey, your favorite positive psychologist and career coach. I am answering your questions. What you do is you write into me or you call into me with your career challenges, your problems, whatever is going on in your career. And I try to give you some answers, some solutions, some tools, some strategies that you can use to overcome your challenge. And today we have our first submission, and I'm so excited to read this to you and to provide some solutions for you so that you can go out there and continue to be your very best self. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you, their submission. This is from Sal. And I'm going to read you her submission, and then I'm going to give you my response to what you've written in, Sal. So Sal says, I have been at this job for 12 years. And while I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity, I feel like I have given it everything I have, my time, my energy, my health, and honestly, a piece of my soul. Baby, I feel you. Yet, if I walked away today, I feel like I would have nothing to show for it. Wow. My boss is extremely manipulative, is what she says, and it makes it difficult to leave peacefully. I am the longest serving employee at the school, and over the years, I have poured so much of myself into this place. As a single mom living paycheck to paycheck, I am terrified of leaving because I can't afford to be without a job, and I worry about finding something that pays as much or better than what I make now. That is a dilemma. There is a lot of favoritism, very little accountability, and the task that no one wants to do always seems to end up on my plate. There is no room for growth because the school is so small. I've reached the highest position available to me in operations, yet I'm not even compensated at the level of a director of operations typically would be. I feel drained, used, unappreciated, and unheard. I've tried many times to communicate my concerns, but nothing changes. Y'all, listen to this. Recently, I made a decision to create a financial plan and make this my last year there. You go. My mental health has suffered, and I've reached a point where enough is enough. I'm also considering going back to school to become a dental hygienist. I have an AS degree in medical front office administration, but I never ended up working in that field. I know that I need a change, but I want to make the smartest move possible for myself and for my family. If you have any advice on how to navigate this transition and exit in the best way possible, I would truly appreciate it. And I do want to note that she says that she doesn't have any support or family where she's at, and it's just her and her son. So first of all, Sal, thank you so much for writing into the show. And I feel you, and I feel your pain. I want to say thank you for trusting me with, your challenge. And the one thing that really stood out to me is that you said, I've given this job my time, my energy, my health, and honestly, a piece of my soul. And I know that all of you who are watching, you probably feel the exact same way. And I know that that's a hard way to feel because I hear you all. I see you all on my social media. I read your comments, and I know that, Sal, you're not the only way, and you're not alone in the way that you're feeling. And what this makes me think of is that this is not just about a job anymore. This has become truly personal and something that you need to figure out so that you can move forward and become the best version of yourself. And so let me just say what I think is truly happening right now. The biggest problem isn't necessarily your workplace. I truly feel like the biggest problem is fear. And I see that so much, especially in us women, is that we fear leaving. We fear, being, getting on the other side of things. We fear all these things. And so number one, you fear losing your income. And that's a big fear. Like and you should be scared because you can't survive without income. Number two, it sounds like you fear disappointing your son. I'm not exactly sure how old your son is, but I do know as parents, as a mother, we have this thing called mom guilt, and we want to do our very best and be our very best for our children. And that makes so much sense to me. You mentioned fearing being homeless. Of course, the worst thing that could happen is that if you did lose or leave your job and don't have anything else, you probably wouldn't, have some place to stay. And so I understand that. But one of the biggest things I hear in what you've written to me today is that you fear starting over. And this is where I think the main thing is for us. A lot of times when we put so much energy, you said you poured out your soul to this job. And when we do that, our job becomes a big part of our identity, right? I see this all the time in my coaching practice. Women come in and the one thing that they fear is starting over because number one, it says that they failed, or they think that it says that they failed when it really doesn't. It says that you've taken your power back and you recognize that where you're at is no longer good for you. But we think that because we have to start over or we have to move to something different, then we failed. And that's not the truth. That mindset is the very thing that may be keeping you stuck in this job. But what I love is that you said that you've made a decision, right? But I want to talk about those fears. They are real. They are real. But here's the thing. You cannot make this decision to move forward from an emotional place. I know we as women, baby, we emotional, honey. I be all up in my emotions. Okay. But if you want to be able to move forward and you want to be able to do it good, you cannot make it from an emotional place. You need to be logical about what's happening next, right? You need to be logical. So here's the thing though. What I love, Sal, what I love so much about you is that you have made a plan. I want to celebrate you now because see, you could have written in and said, I haven't done anything and, I feel destitute, but I see power in you already because you've said to yourself, you've made a plan and that you've decided that this is going to be your last year. What that means is that you're thinking ahead, right? You're thinking ahead versus reacting. You didn't say I'm about to quit right now. Please don't. First of all, please don't. I know that it may seem super hard to go to work every single day, but you cannot make the emotional decision to quit right now because if you did, all those fears could potentially come true. But it doesn't seem like you are, irrational because you've made a plan to quit this year. And I think that is such a beautiful thing for you to be able to do that, right? It's to quit this year because preparation reduces panic. Oh, it reduces your need to panic in the future. And the best career decisions are not made when you're running away from something. They're made while you are intentionally moving towards something better. And that's what you're doing. You're intentionally moving towards something better. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way because I think we don't praise ourselves enough and we don't celebrate ourselves enough when it comes to these hard decisions that we have to make. This is a hard decision. It is and it ain't. You need to go, but when fear is blocking us from moving, it then becomes a hard decision, but we're trying to uncomplicate it and make it unhard. So you mentioned that you wanted to become a dental hygienist, right? And I want to go back to something that you also mentioned in a sense that you said that if you walked away, with if you left today, there was nothing that you had to show for it. I disagree. I absolutely disagree with you. Because here's the thing. You have 12 years of leadership, baby. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, I know people out there who have way less years of leadership. You've demonstrated over 12 years that you can lead. The way people have treated you is separate from the fact that you have 12 years of leadership. You understand what I'm saying? So even when you walk away from this job, you still have 12 years of leadership. That's not something that they can take away with you. And that's something that can lead you to your next job. You also have operations experience. I know that there's employers right now looking for people with operations experience, because people who have operations experience, sometimes they're very hard to come by. And I know that this job market may be funny. It's a little funky out there, right? But all that means to me is that it may take a little bit longer to find what you're looking for, right? It may take a little bit longer to find what you're looking for. You also understand crisis management because listen, I mean, if the majority of leaders in our country today understood crisis management, we would be in a different position and in a different place, right? If we understood crisis management, we would be okay, right? So you understand crisis management. You also understand problem solving. It sounds like you're so loyal. I'm telling you, to literally find loyal people in our organizations today is something to revel in, right? And you manage people and you keep the organization running. All those are skills that you can put on your resume. They're all transferable. They're all transferable. So what I want you to understand is that sometimes we undervalue, or we've been undervalued so long that we start believing that we don't have value. Like, you've been undervalued for so long in your workplace that you feel like you're not valuable, but you are valuable. And so I want to jump back to the question of becoming a dental hygienist. Now, listen, I just told you that you have all these transferable skills. Now, I am no stranger to schooling. I got 4 degrees. Like, it's ridiculous, right? Everything from a bachelor's degree to master's degree and a PhD, right? So I'm no stranger to school. And I don't necessarily... I'm not going to tell you whether going back to school to become a dental hygienist is the right or the wrong thing. But what I want you to do is I really want you to ask yourself, are you just trying to escape kind of like what you're doing right now? Meaning I'm just done with it, right? Or is a dental hygienist in alignment with where your purpose is? Right? Like, that's the question that I want to know. Because all the times when we want to do something, we want to pivot, we want to change it up completely, which is your prerogative. But I also want you to ask the question, am I really running from this whole thing? Or can I use the skills that I've already have in terms of leadership and transfer them to something that is similar? That's what I did when I became a coach, right? I actually transferred my social work skills to becoming a coach. And so I didn't have to blow everything up. I did still have to go back to school and get a coaching certification. I got a second master's in positive psychology coaching, but I still used all the skills that I had before. Ask yourself, can you use those skills that we just talked about? And are you just running from, your career as an administrator in school system, or is dental hygienist in line with you? And if it is, or if you don't know the answer to that question, I'm going to say I would go, shadow someone. I would go to your dentist, like I'm sure you have a dentist. If you, want to be a dental hygienist, ask your dentist, can you shadow what that would look like for a day? Because here's the thing, what it looks like actually doing it and thinking that you like it, them sometimes 2 different things. They 2 whole different things, right? So ask if you can shadow. I would even try to interview dental hygienists. I would, number one, also research the salaries of dental hygienists, right? Like, how much do they make? Do they make what you feel like you can make? And you have to understand that you will be just starting out as a dental hygienist. So the salary at the top end, you probably won't get the top end of the salary in terms of a dental hygienist. You would probably start at the lower end. So think about if you can manage through that. And then I also want you to think about the physical demands. I know, from what I think, an administrator, you might have a desk job like me, I'm sitting in front of my desk right now, answering your questions. So a dental hygienist, they're on their feet all day. They're, ripping and running through, the office and stuff like that. So you got to think about, do you want those physical demands, or can you actually handle those physical demands? And then, I want you to think 5-10 years ahead. Is that something you want to be doing? Right? Is that something that you feel like you want to be doing 5-10 years ahead in this job? And one of the things I would say is that, I think that a lot of times when we get stuck in this place, when we just really want to leave a job and we're thinking about what's next, we think about all these things, and we don't give a real thought to what our purpose in life is. And that is the reason why I wrote Get Courageous Now. So I want to leave you with a couple things to do and a couple questions that I want you to answer for yourself as it pertains to making your next move. Number one, Get Courageous Now, which is my book. You can get it on Amazon, and that is going to help you start digging into your purpose. That is going to help you figure out if dental hygienist is actually the way for you to go, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to run from one job that you hate to another one that you hate. And changing careers is just that. It's changing careers. And so you're going to have to put a lot of time and energy into that. And that may be the right way for you to go. But I want you to answer those questions and really dig into your purpose before you do that. And so here's some questions that I really want to leave you with, and everything. I want to leave you with, ask yourself, if fear wasn't making this decision, what would courage choose? If you were not fearful, what would courage choose? If you were courageous in this whole area of your life, what would you choose to do then? And then I want you to ask yourself, what skills are you underestimating? Because from where I sit, you got a lot of skills. And I know just me reading what you wrote, that's not even half of the skills that you have. But what skills are you underestimating? And then, are you running away from a job or towards a better future? And that's so important, because it causes you to slow down and to really, really think. I'm not saying that the job ain't all the things that you said they was, because your truth is your truth. But you want to be running towards something versus just running away from something. And then lastly, I want you to ask yourself, what kind of workplace do you want your son to see you thrive in? Because I know that he's a big part of your life. He's a huge part of why you do what you're doing. And as a single mom, I used to be a single mom. We do everything for our kids, and we want them to see the best in us. And who do you want him to see, right? Who do you want him to see? So I'm going to leave you with some Dr. Kiki career homework. Okay, here's some homework for you to do in order to take yourself to the next level. So first of all, I need you to update your resume. If you have not already updated your resume, do so. Now, here's the thing. AI has been updating people's resumes and they all look the same. So I'm not telling you not to use AI to help you in this situation, but depending on where you want to go in terms of the next job, you might want to make sure that you have as much human eyeballs on your resume as possible, because now these companies are screening these resumes, and because they have all the same keywords in it, they're just getting screened out into a black hole. That's literally what's happening right now. That's what the research is saying is happening. So you don't want your resume to go into a black hole. So really have your human eyes on it. Send it to somebody else, human eyes as well, and have them look at your resume. But this week, I need you to update your resume. I need you to also apply to at least 3 jobs. If you're trying to leave, then update your resume and apply to 3 jobs. That is exactly what you need to do. And then the next thing I want you to do, then these are all my little career homework, right? Is to schedule 1 informal interview with a dental hygienist. Like I said, start with your own dentist. You know what I'm saying? Like because I have an amazing relationship with my dentist. Shout out to Dr. Frank Nia here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I can go to him if that was something that I wanted to do, and I could schedule an interview with a dental hygienist. As a matter of fact, I just got my teeth cleaned not too long ago, and my dental hygienist gave me her personal card so that I could, make sure that I stay on schedule with her. So schedule an informal interview with them. See if you can shadow, because you don't want to step out into this new career field not knowing all the things about it. And then I want you to write down at least 5 leadership skills you've gained over the last 12 years. These 5 are going to be some of your top 5 that you put in that resume. And these 5 are going to be some of your top 5 that you keep by your side to remind yourself that you are that girl, that you are valued. Even if your current job doesn't value the way you need them to, you are still valuable. And then the last bit of homework that I want you to do is set a financial target that tells you when you are ready to leave. If you don't do nothing else, you're going to do this one. You have to set a financial goal that says, okay, I'm good enough to leave. Because you can't quit your job without having a financial goal or having another place to land, right? You just can't do that, because we want you to make sound decisions, and we want you to be able to still pay your bills and live, right? So I want to finally just say, I don't think that you're stuck. I think you're preparing for what's next. There's a difference. A lot of times when we keep telling ourselves we're stuck, we don't think about the next step, right? Our mind can't even comprehend what the next step is. But if you tell yourself that you're preparing for the next step, then your mind starts to think, oh, well, shoot, what are the next steps that I have to do? And you're not just leaving a job, you are creating a better future for yourself and for your son, right? Don't think that there's not the next move out there. There is. And you got this. I am cheering for you every step of the way. And I want you to know that you're going to be okay at the end of the day. All right, Sal. Thank you so much for writing into the Career Rescue Hotline. If you all have a situation that you would like me to talk about on the Career Rescue Hotline, please go to the link in the bio and you can fill out the form. And then you never know, you might be my next guest on the Career Rescue Hotline. And if you don't do anything else, go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter, because I am giving you career tools every single week. All right, y'all. Love you. Peace.